Today let's talk about the spec of wheels and tyres I run on my car, because there's a lot of people that are asking, so I thought I'd do a video on it. So obviously this is a BMW F80 M3, and I know these specs actually work on a M4, which is the F82. I used to have the same spec wheels on my M4 when I previously had that. And yes, I know I can get a tighter fitment here, and I do want to lower it a wee bit more, but I already hit the front splitter on my driveway, so I haven't done that yet, but at one point I might try lower it a bit more. But anyway, as you can see here, the tyre actually sits pretty flush with the fender. And if we go to the back as well, even though I've got a bit of stretch on this tyre, I do want to change the tyre to a slightly wider one just to kind of get rid of that stretch, but I haven't done it yet. You can see with the wheel, even here, it's got a wee bit of camber on it. It still is sitting quite flush with the fender. And the reason why, because you could go more aggressive with this, but the reason I like to keep it like this is just because when the back of the car goes under compression, if you have someone in the back of the car or you're going over like speed bumps at a high speed or something, it doesn't actually rub into the wheel arches, which is something I had in here previously when I had wheel spacers on a set of wheels and two aggressive tyre setup. So before we get into the exact setup of my wheels, let's talk about tyres. So I'm actually running the Continental Sport Contact 7s, I think they're called. From reviews and everything like that and personal experience, they're very similar to the Michelin Pilot Supersport 4Ss, which I know is a very popular tyre that quite a lot of people like to run on this platform. So excuse how dirty the car is, but you can see the tyre wall there, and it is still a nice looking tyre wall. Personally, I think the Michelin one is a little nicer to look at, but I think this still looks good. And with this little bit of stretch on the back, I think it even looks good here, but like I said before, I would like to make that more of a square setup. So the specs on the tyres are 265, 35, 19 on the front, and we've got 285, 30, 20 on the rear. And the reason for it being all staggered like that is because I want it to be similar to the CS edition, which has the 20s on the rear and the 19s on the front. Personally, I just like how it looks with the bigger wheel on the back and the slightly smaller one on the front and a bit more meat on there. But also the biggest advantage of it is the handling is actually so much better on these cars when you have a 19 on the front. Yes, you probably wouldn't notice if you had a 19 on the rear as well, but this looks better, I think, in my opinion. So I like to have the 20 on the rear and the 19 on the front. So you might be wondering, why wouldn't I just get the CS wheels, which are also known as the 763M wheels, which you can buy aftermarket from BMW as part of their M Performance range. Now, I do really like them, and that is actually what I took as inspiration for getting these wheels, because they are kind of designed to look very similar to them. But the big difference is the fact I don't need to run wheel spacers with these to get the flush fitment that I want. There's absolutely nothing wrong with running a wheel spacer. I mean, well, unless you go for a stupid big one, don't fit them properly or something like that, then yes, you can run into issues. Personally, I just didn't want to run one because I ran it before, and if I can run without it, I'd rather do that. In general, it just makes it easier taking the wheels on and off and putting them on and not have to worry about spacers or different wheels using different spacers, because some wheels I have would use a 15 in the back and a 12 in the front, whereas others would use the 15 in the front and the 12 in the back. Now yes, these wheels are very dirty right now along with the whole car, but they're actually a really bright silver finish on these. It's a satin silver, I think it's hyper silver, but with a satin clear coat, which personally I'm just a big fan of the silver wheels right now, and it makes the sort of gold colour that is meant to replicate the carbon ceramic brakes on the 2NH brake setup just kind of pop a wee bit more on camera, and well, just in general anyway, it makes it pop. So you might be wondering, what are these wheels? Obviously, if I'm talking about how I designed or tried to design most of it, I mean, I sent over renders, and then the company, they got them actually made into proper renders and then made to my specs. So they are custom made by a company called West Forged. Now these wheels are actually different to how I originally ordered them, because they were actually spec'd as a satin gold. And the reason for that is because there's a additional lip that goes around here that I'll show you a picture on screen, which is done in a mirror finish polish look. And I kind of wanted this to be a sort of modern E88 BBS wheel sort of style of thing. So that's what I was going for. I like the gold, so I did the gold wheel with the polished lip, and that was kind of, you know, be a homage to that. I'm not gonna lie, I hit a curb with those wheels, so that's why they're now repainted silver. Anyway, enough about that. We know about what the tyre specs are, we just need to know what the wheels are, because that is probably what most people have actually clicked on this video to find out. So I've pulled up on my phone over here what the specs are, and the fronts are a 19, as you know, and then it is a 9.5 inch wide front barrel with an ET of 20. And that obviously just gives it that nice sort of flush look. And I didn't mention this before, but I know this setup actually works on cars that are bagged. Personally, bag's just not my thing, so I've never done that, but I do know it works on a bagged setup. So that's the front specs. Rear, we've obviously got a 20, and that's by 11 inches on the back, so obviously it's a bit wider than the front. gets you a bit of a wider tyre and you can put that power down a wee bit better. And then the ET is 40 on the back, and that just gets you that sort of fitment on here as well. Now, I'm actually not running any sort of lowering on the rear. This is standard springs on the rear, and I've got lowering springs on the front. And I just feel that kind of gives it a nice even setup. And that's also down to, like I said before, that I rubbed through the wheel arches. That is because it was lowered with tyres that were kind of sticking out too much. So raised it up and put these wheels on, and it gave that stretch look. So that's how it's kind of working right now, but I will go back to having a slightly wider tyre on the rear and get a nice meaty setup on there. And that is it. So that is the spec of wheels that I am running on my car, and probably will continue to run even if I get new wheels made, because I just find it works best. I think it looks great and I have no issues with it functionally, and I don't need spacers, which I think's great. But yeah, I thought people would enjoy this because I get asked quite a lot what my specs are on my wheels, so that's them. But if you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, because that will help me out try to do something better. I mean, it'll obviously let me know if this is the right thing to do with this kind of content. And also, let me know down below in the comment section, what wheels do you run on your car? What setup do you have? What's your specs? Like, are they different? Let me know. I'd like to know. But yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.